Ooh, okay. Live streaming, live streaming. How is everyone doing today? Okay. Here we go. This microphone will help, I bet. Got my writer's cardigan on. Got my cool pants, my Uggs. One second. One second. Flattering shot of me. Come on. I was thinking, like, what else can I make into my writer's uniform here? These lovely blue blockers that need to be cleaned. Jesus. Okay. Drowning Devil. How's it going? Yeah, you haven't been here in a while. Where have you been? What you been up to? I hope you're doing well. Many well wishes into you, for you and your life. Okay. Let's see. So, since you've been gone, Drowning Devil, we've been writing a Simpsons spec script. Just wanted to kind of change the pace. You know, we always try to develop something original, and then it's like, well, people who are just joining, or like you, who haven't joined in quite some time, hop on, and you spend so much time re-explaining something. And it's like, well, how about we do something that's a little bit more universal, where people can kind of pass in and out. You don't have to have been here the previous week to understand who these characters are and what we're trying to accomplish. Just ended up making the most amount of sense, I think. I'm excited to pick up where we left off last week. And if you're a Simpsons fan, or if you're just even familiar with the show, you can contribute. It'll be fun. Also, I like this glass. In dog beers, I've only had one. That's good writing. You just kind of fell off watching streams. That's good. That's cool. Have some time IRL, right? I should get that for my dad. What, the blue blockers or the dog beers? Hmm. It makes everything taste nice. Oh, speaking of dogs, gotta put sugar in here. One segundo here. Sugar, come make your screen debut. This is how you pay your portion of the rent. You say hello to the world. This is Sugar, my little writing muse. Isn't she so effing sweet, everybody? Yeah, I think she's ready for a nap. I scooped her up just before. She probably started to shut her eyes. Yeah, she's a good girl. She just did a little trip to Idlewild, and we found out she is not a country dog. She just likes the couch and people and snacks. Oh yeah? You have a Boston Terrier, Drowning Devil? Or you have maybe like a Frenchie or something? Something similar? A cute little thing with a big bowling ball head. you know what? Forgot to get my live stream vertical going. It's always something. I'm the worst live streamer. So much to keep up with. I never do. Okay. Drowning Devil, you keep the chat warm. I'm going to be back in like 30 seconds. Boom. Fantastic. You have a Frenchie Chihuahua mix. Oh my god. Big old bug eyes and an underbite. Drowning, are you on the Discord? You can show a picture of your dog if we want. We have the time while everybody kind of trickles in. I kind of jumped in. I know I started the stream later, but based on how I've been starting, I actually jumped in a little early today. Okay. Here we go. Ooh, so much stuff going on. So many devices. It's insane. The world we live in is insane. Things I do just to write. Am I wrong? Okay. All right. Cutest ugly thing. That's how it works. That's how they get you. They lure you in with their imperfection. Oh, sorry. Every time I use my dog, she deserves payment because she's a union dog. We all know this. Sugar. Thank you so much for your services today. You're such a good girl. I know. I know. Here you go. Thank you. She loves a sweet potato treat. Okay. Well, that bag's never going to close again. All right. Oh, you're back from ads? Oh, Drowning Devil, I forgot to mention. I don't know exactly how long it's been. But if you want to watch without ads, you can go over to the YouTube channel and watch ad-free. I'll pin this to the top of the chat. Yeah. I know people were getting sick of ads, but you know, hey, I have to do what I have to do. And, okay. Yeah, feel free to hop over. Lurk if you want. You can lurk if you want to. You can leave your friends behind. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to get some of this pulled up. I wanted to make a correction from last week. We were kind of running with a C story, but I don't think I was trying to do research kind of retroactively because I threw myself in. Most sitcoms do have like a little A, B, C story structure, with C being like the runners. And maybe The Simpsons does it with like a Carl and Lenny something or other, but for the most part, it's an intertwining A-B storyline. Let me get my digital writer's room up. I'll throw in the chat just for good measure. That's short for measure. I abbreviate things because I'm super cool. Where is my freeform? Oh, help if I opened it, huh? There we go. Okay, I promise you, guys, I am almost there. Y'all just know how much I struggle. Boom. Let's go ahead and shrink this down a little bit. It's so hard to read, but we'll zoom in. What we ended up doing is pitching ideas for a Simpsons episode. We started moving over the stuff that we liked. We picked something topical, which was, last week, of course, the UFC fight at the White House. And we also picked Bart creates an AI app for prank calling Moe's Tavern because he's run out of ideas. Bart becomes a tech bro CEO. Bart's app is eventually used against him, or he, at the end, finds a way for AI to either torture or be nice to Moe on a grander scale. And then we had the C story where Lisa tries a brand new sax at King Toot's Music Emporium and falls in love with how it plays, but she can't afford it. Therefore, she sells something precious to her to get the money. But when it goes, it's kind of like one of the, is it Henry O'Toole? The one where she cuts her hair and he buys her the hairpins and she buys him a chain for his watch that he sold for the hairpins. I forget what the name of this story is, which makes me look really bad as a writer. Drowning Devil says, okay, I'm going to do a cool, fun thing and have the YouTube open so no ads, but chat here because it's easier. I agree. I do like the Twitch interface a little easier. A little easier is a little more fun, a little bit more intuitive just for me to operate, but I'm just happy to have you. Either way. All right. So, let's talk a little bit about the Simpsons here. We were going to write a Simpsons spec script. We are still going to write a Simpsons spec script. The way that I was kind of introduced to a typical like cartoon format was actually something called the Herald. This is an improv structure formed by Del Close, who was the founder of Improv Olympic, and they sued him. The Olympic Committee sued him for using the word Olympic in his business name, so they changed it to IO. I went through all the motions and classes in IO West, which is their Los Angeles branch before they shut down. And they kind of teach everybody the Herald structure, something that you can kind of loosely follow whenever you're doing improv on stage to make it seem like a well-rounded show, to give you a little guidance, a touchstone, if you will, for improv structure. The whole form itself is built to basically take a single suggestion from an audience, and then you explore the theme from a bunch of, related or seemingly unrelated angles. You start with an opening, you get a first beat, then you get like a group game. So like their first beat is A, your group game is B. Then you get your second beat. So you're doing like the A storyline again. Then you do your group game, which is your B storyline again. And it's just a method of like how to change from one storyline to the second storyline. And whenever you're on stage and whenever you're doing improv, you can naturally feel like where something like that ends. Hi, Ghost McMillan, how are you? And Patrick, what's going on? Thank you so much. Yeah, got the t-shirt literally from Topanga Canyon. And I got this cardigan from online because I'm not that fashionable. But yeah, hey man, how's it going? And thanks for being on the YouTube vertical. Just FYI, We're kind of talking about writing a Simpson spec script. We will be actually writing the thing. If you're interested in seeing like the big whiteboard, if you're interested in contributing ideas, feel free to join me on Twitch or YouTube Live. You can watch on YouTube Live without ads if you want to. But it's fun. It's fun just to have people pitching ideas, right? So while the Simpsons itself doesn't necessarily fit like a Herald structure, what it does do is it fluctuates between its A storyline and its B storyline. And I made the mistake of like creating a C storyline just because I like the idea so much, which we could be fluid about. And we can kind of decide to take or leave the C story or make the C story the new A or B. It's kind of like a really good way to break story as well. Especially whenever you're talking about like variations on a theme. I think writing theme first is really hard. I do think theme is found later. Of course, whenever you're improving and making up story on the spot, you use theme to be your well of inspiration. We need to give these actors a break from these two characters going at it. This scene has exhausted itself. We need to move the show forward. What can my next idea be? And then you can like literally draw from a theme. A theme can inspire a story from your real life, or so on and so forth. But sorry, my dog is very, very upset that maybe I didn't pay her enough. There you go. Nailed it. Got it. So the Simpsons kind of use the Herald in a way that it's like a wandering pivot, right? Meaning that we just flip back and forth from our A story and our B story. Not too bad. We know that our Act 1 is going to be between around like 15-ish pages. Our Act 2 will be essentially like maybe 7 to 10. And we have a tendency to overwrite animation because we want to give editors a way to like essentially cut the fat. Like a lot of animation gets cut, but you have like a lot of room for jokes. So let's take a look at what we have, if we can read it. Excusez-moi. Or also, let me check the chat and see if anybody else rolled in. Yeah, oh no, it's too late. I already gave in to the puppy tantrum. Drowning Devil says, I'm quite fond of Bart making an AI app because it does kind of lean into Bart's chaos of choosing to learn how to code something like AI only to torment someone very Bart. Not to mention he doesn't have to do the work. Like it would be more Lisa to like learn code, but it would be more Bart for Bart to use AI to generate the code. Like he's just cheating all the way through. It is very Bart. Drowning Devil also says, I have always found it so interesting how many sitcoms are able to tell 2 stories in one 30-minute episode. It's tight. It's gonna be crazy. You think B and C would contrast each other well? That's kind of interesting, right? Like I wonder if we don't pick like the 2 strongest of these like 3 threads. Right now we're kind of in the development stage, right? We could essentially write all of these stories individually and see where they could converge on each other in our Act 3. Hi, Storm Satsuki. How are you today? Oh, thank you so much, Storm Satsuki. How are you? Appreciate you. Even with all this, I appreciate it. If that's how you feel now, wait till wait till I bring out the big guns. This is a real face you can love. This is Sugar. This is my writing muse. She contributes nothing but cuteness and little whines. But yeah, thanks for joining. And if you like, be sure to like and subscribe. Go over to the YouTube page and you can see us working through a Simpson spec script. We're kind of outlining. We have the big digital whiteboard. Once we get a few more chatters in, we'll probably just start taking off. I know we're always waiting for Mookie MC to join. It'd be crazy if we went on without him. But let's talk about that. Oh, Carrie Ann, what's up? I just messaged you back on Discord. Congratulations on finishing your script. And of course, it's never finished, right? Until the movie is out. But you know, congratulations on completing another draft, and I'm sure it's wonderful. Carrie Ann's a very talented writer who shared work with us in the past. Let me see. Carrie Ann, while we wait for some other people to log on, maybe I can read a section of your script. Let me pull it up. Discord. Obviously, we don't have time to go through an entire script today, but maybe we can. Maybe you could pick a scene for us to read or something like that. I'm opening it up right now. Opening up this PDF. Ooh. I like your font choice. And let me pull up my OBS. We'll do like a little quick switcheroo here. What about this? Here we go. Oh, wait. I want to use the right button to do it. Preview, polite company. Okay. Let me see. I'll expand it out a little bit. Okay. Now everybody's kind of seeing what I'm seeing, yeah? Boom. Cool font. The new, we want me to see if the new opening is an improvement. Well, fourth draft is the draft I got after notes from the script editor through IADT. I'm taking this version to the Story Labs workshop at the Galway Film Festival. Excellent. Yeah, no, it's okay to share notes. After Story Labs, I'm planning on finalizing draft 4 and sending it for more notes. And then after those notes, draft 5 will be the final for the academic. Okay, right. Okay, cool. Well, let's see here. Interior, King's Cross Platform Day, Kelly 43. A non-passing trans woman exits a tube train. She is in boy mode, closeted in khakis and a black polo shirt. Something colorful peeks out beneath the polo shirt. A backpack slung over her shoulder as she heads out of a train and into King's Cross. She pops on some wireless headphones and looks at a cell phone. Mobile phone voiceover. You have 3 new messages. Message 1. Sound effect beep. Martin voiceover. Hey sis, I'm calling to check on you. I figured you need a few days to decompress after that visit home. Maybe you could come by for New Year's in Norway. Greta and I would be happy to have you. Dad says they've been trying to reach you. Everything all right? Anyway, call me when you get this. We'll do a video call. Interior, exterior, King's Cross, day. She passes a tourist shop on the concourse. Wizard wonders, flips it off without looking. She emerges from the crowded tube station. Christmas lights hang above Euston Road. Double-deckers crawl through traffic. Kelly heads north. Mobile phone, voiceover, message to, sound effect, beep. Hey, Toots. Hear you're safe and back in London. Met a guy through work. He's my age. He's nice. He's kind. He's charming. He's a priest, but I can work with that anyway. Better than Greg, anyway. Anyway, I'm calling to make sure you're doing all right. Your mom says you're not returning her calls since Thanksgiving. Honestly, she's crying at night. I can hear it in her voice. If you can you call her just to let her know you're okay? Have fun in London, kiddo. Knock 'em dead. Message 3. Beep. Colleen. Hey, Kelly. Just wanted to see how things were going and wish you a Merry Christmas. Let me know if... Kelly stops walking. Stops. An exasperated sigh. She cuts the message off. Insert. Phone screen. A prompt. Delete message or remind me later. Kelly's fingers hover over the delete. Thinks for a second. Frowning. Presses remind me. Continues walking. Exterior. King of Stars Pub. Day. A sign. Stand up tonight. The pub is slightly scruffy. Not a prestige venue, but a good place for developing comics. Kelly heads in. Interior. King of Stars. Green room. Day. A calendar on the wall. December 2022. Kelly removes her shirt and trousers, revealing a floral dress underneath. She stuffs them into her backpack. Pulls out a makeup bag. Right. Moisturizer, primer, foundation? No, that's not right. She looks at the makeup in the bag. Fuzz nuggets. She digs into the backpack, pulls out a small notepad. She checks it, then begins applying moisturizer. And now we have a special treat for you tonight. One of my favorite comedians. Please give a warm welcome to Kelly O'Connell. Interior, King of Stars, stage, night. Kieran, 70s, Scott, theatrical, hands over the mic with a flourish. Kelly steps on to applause. She grabs the mic, wraps the cord around her wrist, kicks the stand behind her. Easy, practiced. Her smile, genuine. All right, let's just get this out of the way. Gesture to self. Yes, I am American. Beat, laughter. Leave the questions for after the show, but the genitals are off limits. Asking a trans woman about her genitals is like asking the queen about her genitals. Beat, laughs. That's between her and the Jubilee Vajazzler. Beat, laughs. 8 months ago, my pronouns became she and her. My adjectives became overwhelmed and bewildered. Laughter. Exterior. O'Connell. Family home. 1985. Day. Kelly. Post-lap. Should have known way earlier. A neat suburban North Carolina home. Summer bright. Wide front porch. Neatly trimmed lawn. An American flag shares a pole with a POW MIA flag. Pre-lap. The sounds from an episode of Donahue. Interior. O'Connell family home. Living room. Day. The decor is very mid-80s. Kelly. 6. Kevin. Sits cross-legged on the carpet, playing with building toys. Granny. 70. Watches on a CRTV Martin 2 called Moira, asleep in her lap in a pink dress. On TV, Donahue, 2 transsexual women. Kelly looks up. Granny. Yes, Kevin, sweetie. Are they girls? Granny glances between Kevin and the TV. She switches channels with a bulky remote to control Jeopardy. A bulky remote control to Jeopardy. Oh, sweetheart, sometimes people get a little mixed up. She ruffles Kelly's hair. You're still little. Kelly goes back to building. A moment. I'll figure it out when I'm big. Interior, King of Stars, stage, night. We returned to Kelly mid-set. I did not figure it out when I was big. Instead, when I hit puberty, I got depression. Beat. And my parents wrote it off as me being too smart to be happy. Act out. Our son's not queer, he's a philosopher. Laughter. Beat. Exterior, O'Connell family home, 1992. Day. Morning. 2 cars in the driveway. A yard sign. Ross Perot for president. Rory, 40s. Patriarch. Adjust the American POW MIA flags. Interior, Kelly's bedroom. Day. A 13-year-old's bedroom. Posters of comedians. Carlin, Williams, DeGeneres. Poundstone, O'Donnell. Shelves of books, computers, philosophy, Irish myth. Disassembled electronics, puzzle boxes, circuit boards, a small CRT, and an 8-bit Nintendo. Kelly, now 13, is playing Duck Hunt, a video game on a small CRT in her room. Her controller is the NES Zapper, a light gun that is shaped like a pistol. She takes aim with it at the ducks on the screen. She hits one and misses another with 3 shots. She takes a long, drawn-out sigh. In the CRT, the game, and Kelly's reflection staring back. In the next round, instead of shooting at the ducks, Kelly puts the barrel of the NES Zapper in her mouth. She fires 3 times. The duck hunt dog laughs. Kelly shuts off the TV and Nintendo, then collapses, lies back on her bed, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. Colleen, off screen. Kevin, if you're not dressed yet, get dressed. You've got CCD in a half hour. And if you show up late, the nuns will make you wear a wimple. Kelly reacts with confusion. Okay, I'm going to stop right here because it's the first 5 pages. Let me go back and check the chat and see what's up. Switching to Twitch. Too much lag on YouTube. Sorry about that. But I'm going to blame it on YouTube, quite frankly. Drowning Devil's doing the Simpson stuff. Might be overthinking it, but the idea that Bart gives into laziness that comes from AI, while Lisa gives into the passion of the art. Yeah, they have 2 very distinct storylines that are like almost equal and opposite. I really like that, Drowning Devil. Maybe we could potentially fold storyline A into B. You know, that's more of a gimmick than rather like a through line. What we have with Bart is the rise and fall of the lessons that we learn with AI usage. But also like back to Carrie Ann's first 5 pages, trying to look at this as if we're a brand new audience member. I've had the honor, the privilege of kind of being with Carrie Ann as she has developed this story. Okay, and so I do know like a little bit of this backstory. I kind of know like why the duck hunt gun is relevant and all this kind of stuff. Okay, so let's talk about what we have learned in the first 5 minutes of screen time. What I picked up on was that as an audience member, here's what I know if I had just seen this for the first time. I know that Carrie Ann, something happened to Carrie Ann back home. Her family's trying to reach out to her, and she is ignoring them, and it's a cause for concern. I learned that Carrie Ann is an American in London, a transplant, and I learned that Carrie Ann is a trans woman that disguises her appearance until she gets to the comedy club, and that she is a stand-up comedian. Let's see. Part of me was thinking, I wanted to like almost challenge, and I should also say, by the way, very well written, Carrie Ann. You did some wonderful stuff here. I want to acknowledge the good work that we do. You have a lot of you get a lot of exposition out of the way really fast, with kind of with a good sense of momentum. Right, we're constantly moving through London while we're also hearing the voicemails setting up the backstory. Um, let's see. In the first 5 minutes, I still don't know what Carrie Ann like wants immediately, but I still think we have another 5 pages to really feel that out. I want to keep reading on for the next 5 pages. Uh, there was something about the wizard wonders here. Like, I know from your previous work that this was a Harry Potter reference, and J.K. Rowling is very openly and blatantly transphobic, and that was like meant to be flipping the bird to her. And I think my note to you back then was, it seems like she's mad at Harry Potter, not necessarily J.K. Rowling. And in here, we kind of have like the same note in a different way, which is Wizard Wonders isn't Harry Potter. So it's even like, so now I think Carrie hates wizards or magic or fantasy, as opposed to the story behind it. Unless later in the script we're going to meet the author of Wizard Wonders, and it's going to be a direct satire of J.K. Rowling, in which case it's something that we can move past really fast, and it'll pay off later. Carrie Ann says, the voicemail messages I added because in the third draft the central conflict didn't come until page 30. Now, we still have to do a lot of setup for this to work, but voicemails bring the central conflict to the first page. I'm glad you said that too, because my other question would be like, well, how can we like show instead of tell? Right now, the dialogue of characters we haven't met and can't put a face to are doing some of the heavy lifting, but we haven't been invested yet. So I think the trick of, and Carrie Ann, by the way, openings and endings are the hardest things, especially openings to movies are the hardest thing, because it's the first thing people see, and within the first 5 to 10 minutes they decide whether they're going to stick around or not. This is where you have to be the absolute hardest on yourself. And I would say, is there a way to get these voicemails into action? Kind of like how you had these flashbacks with the childhood stuff. I would almost say, and can I just play devil's advocate here? And I'm not saying this is the answer. I don't know the answer. This is your story and it's your voice. But instead of like... instead of flashing back to like 1985, creating a period set, hiring a child to play young you, and doing that again in your adolescence in 1992, buying a room with a whole bunch of 1992 props just for this one shot, I feel like those flashbacks are already inferred by allowing us to understand that you're a trans woman. And maybe that's a liberty you have with like a non like with a woke audience, the same people who would watch this, you know? Like I can infer that it was difficult and confusing for you to be a child where you're uncertain of what the concept of gender identity really means to you. Like you said, you didn't even, in the script, your character didn't even figure it out whenever they got big, right? I almost think that those flashbacks might be more impactful if we see, and honestly, thinking from a producer standpoint as well, easier, cheaper for you to shoot if we get a taste of what those dramatic moments were uh, whenever you were at home for Thanksgiving. And to give us those flashbacks, to let us see your family members um, uh, to see us like mid argument, to see a gun being drawn and like to cut away from it and leave us without a lot of context, but leave us with a sense of atmosphere, like this family dinner turned violent. And here you are about to go do stand up, and no wonder you're leaving, you're not answering your voicemail, and you're in another country. And like, who was in the wrong here? Was it the family? Was it Carrie Ann? We don't know yet. We've only had 5 minutes of exposition. That's kind of just something that I'm pitching to maybe pull exposition into it faster, but also make it feel snappier with a little bit more action. I just try and think of how I feel when I listen to voicemails. Like I'm barely interested in the ones that I get from myself, and then we have a character that we don't know with people that we don't know. It might end up energy wise feeling like you hearing about someone else's dream, maybe. Right? That's my concern. And like I said, I don't know what's right or wrong. And this could fire off on screen perfectly, and I could be absolutely proven wrong. But that's kind of like an instinct that I had in reading the first 5 pages. Let me check the chat here. Drowning Devil says, "Ooh, I didn't get that. It might help to make it like a poster in the bookstore saying book signing for Bacon Jowling." Yeah, depending on Carrie Ann author's slapstickiness, maybe. Yeah. Just a effed up version of her name will make it more on the nose. Sure. Drowning Devil 12 says, "Ooh, I know it might be a long shot, but what if the flashback were told through drawings? It might be cool, but also might not make sense for the story. It might help you so you can still have those flashbacks and maybe get more of an idea of what the young Carrie Ann was thinking of at the moment." I see what you mean, Drowning Devil. I would say like if Carrie Ann was like an artist in like a painter or an artist thematically, that might be an interesting way to do flashbacks. Or if it's like a drawing of her that she made like as a child. I don't know. But that's really up to Carrie Ann, I guess. But Carrie says you'd absolutely be right. If the core theme was about gender identity, but the flashbacks are doing a sneaky job because the movie isn't about transitioning. Not really, and the flashbacks are basically building a case. Jesse Kinkman Rowling. Yeah, that'll get him. That'll show him. Yeah, so I mean, like, I would just say, yeah, maybe that childhood case is pulling double duty because you have the main character on a stage, and her stand-up is kind of referencing the past. The surprise is, yes, I am an American, right? And then she references her transgender nature, which also, by the way, we have seen as well whenever she pulls off the black clothes, the black polo, revealing the colorful dress underneath, and then does her makeup. So really, we're telling the audience the same thing 3 ways in 5 pages. And I think what you might consider is, okay, picking one of those ways, whether that be the visual reveal, which I think is really strong. I mean, obviously, it is a visual medium, a movie, a screenplay, and then what she says on stage could be more exposition, and then what we choose to flash back to is everything that she's not willing to say in contrast. Not to mention high drama, like a family argument, the pulling of a gun, the country, the screaming, something like a pile of like dresses being burned or something. I don't know. Whatever happens later in your script, that's also high drama. Getting like even a second of that in between punchlines would make this seem really elevated. It's funny because, I've always said you're a great writer, and it's all like literally here on the page. And I think at this stage in your drafting, it's really about like choosing what goes where for the maximum amount of impact, really. Like you've done all that work. Gabriel Saint, what's up? How you doing, boss? I think I just saw you streaming as well. You just started streaming, yeah? You're hitting every chat. You're everywhere. Oh my God. He's everywhere. Welcome back to town. Let me see. Oh, Meowfa. Thank you so much for my little dancing dinosaur. You know I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah, now the stream can start. Oh, wait, you're still out of town? Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you were going to be streaming whilst out of town. Of course you are. Hold on, I want to go and follow you. And if you haven't, guys, go check out Gabriel Saint art. I want to see what you're up to. Oh, wait, okay, hold on. Oh, yeah, let me put a little link on if anybody else is just as interested in Gabe's life as I am. It says like gentle drawing or something like that, Gabe. You're not streaming. Oh, well, either way, fresh promo. Calm, comfy meditations. Oh, you know what? I think it just gave me a notification about gesture drawing and talking, even though that was a month ago. Oh, there's a lot of these videos, though. Maybe it was just serving me what I think I like. The internet's a strange place. You had shows Friday, Saturday, and Monday, but you're off today. Oh, you gotta rest those Johnny B. Good fingers. The little digits. These aren't bad notes at all, but I feel like pushing back because they're not establishing Kelly as trans. They're establishing different things. Yeah, please push back, please. I think it's awesome that if you have like such a clear vision as a writer, you're able to defend your point, right? It's just important that you even have a strong enough point of view to push back on and be like, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Fantastic, by the way. They're establishing different things. Kelly traveling in boy mode. Kelly is closeted, does not feel safe in London. Okay, yeah, you're right. Kelly is struggling with makeup. She's new to being trans. Perfect. Yes. Kelly's making jokes about being trans. Kelly is turning her pain into comedy. Yeah. See, all that stuff that you said, I liked about the opening. It was really about the voicemails happening during it. That felt like maybe a little bit like a hat on a hat, but I like the idea of, I love the visual of like her getting off of a train, concealing her identity. I wonder if you couldn't even like to convey the not feeling safe, like just have somebody eyeing her suspiciously and maybe like her buttoning the top button on her polo to cover up that last bit of color on the train or something, because while I did get that she wasn't comfortable being out in London, uh, I didn't get the sense of like a physical threat. I felt the I felt the emotional fear, but not like the potential of being harmed. Like that well, and also maybe it's just the word that you used, unsafe. But yeah, I you didn't bother the flow. It's all good. I'm just happy that we're all talking about writing and that you're out there, making music, and that we're all here making art. I love it. Carrie Ann says, but I think show what she wants. Yeah, that's a huge deal. One idea that I had was maybe she passes a family greeting a daughter at King's Cross and she looks on with envy. Yeah, and also, Carrie Ann, when we were, I know you weren't like up for these little development things that we were doing with like the original horror sci-fi, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But, what we did was we just tried to take our main character and like a touchstone, we said, what is her overall want? Your character is going to want different things from beat to beat and scene to scene. But like, what is the movie about, and what is the touchstone that you can come back to whenever you talk about your character? What does the story of Kelly, what does she want? She wants her family to accept her, or she wants to accept herself, whatever it is. And keep in mind that the want is the driving force, but often a character will get what they need, not what they want, right? So I would just say, like, what helps me, and everybody writes in a different way. I need to have like a piece of paper or a note on my whiteboard or something that I keep going back to, and it literally says the name of your character wants blank, the rest of it. And you'll know what the driving force is. And the moment that you come up with that sentence, you'll know, based in imagery, how to convey that. Your first instinct is to show somebody else getting what she wants and her to look on in envy. Great. Excellent. I would say the idea that you have about her passing a family greeting a daughter at King's Crossing, where she looks on in envy, is, well, is that daughter also trans? Because to be even more specific, it's about accepting her for who she is, not just accepting a family member as a given. She has something even more to overcome. Is it? I'm trying to think of how to compare it. I mean, like, maybe it could even be a metaphor for, in America, like a MAGA family accepting their liberal daughter and still having them over for dinner, even though everybody's wearing a red hat and they're wearing an AOC shirt. That's a big, dumb, stupid first example. But it's not my story to tell. You'll figure it out. Drowning Devil 12, dude, I so want to write a script, but I need to learn how they're formatted first. Okay, yeah. I have a lot of videos on my YouTube about that. And also there's just a lot of free education online. And if Gabriel St. Art is still on here, he'll tell you one thing that we like to do is always reference the book Save the Cat. There are plenty of books about structure, and you can read Poetics by Aristotle, and you can read Story by Robert McKee, and you can read The Nutshell Technique, and you can read Matt Bird's book on story. There's so many. The reason that we always bring up the Save the Cat beats is because it's the easiest book to approach. It's by Blake Snyder, and it's literally the one book in Hollywood everyone has read. So it's the easiest common language to talk to people in. But it's always going to be 3 acts. Some people are like, oh, but some stories are 5 acts. It's like, well, sure, but they break Act 2 into parts. Everything is just different words for the same thing. But we can always learn dramatic structure. Everything has a beginning, everything has a middle, and everything has an end. And it gets a lot more nuanced than that. But honestly, if you follow the 13 beats of Blake Snyder's beat sheet and you fail at that over and over again, eventually you'll get the hang of the rise and fall of a story arc. It's actually a lot more approachable than people think, and I would recommend that book to start because it's just the easiest bite to take. Let me see. Also, Derek, were you ever a teacher? Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. No, well, I did teach English in China for a little while, but that was. But I wasn't teaching story. I got a degree in theater, studied a lot of Shakespeare, did a lot of scene study, and also spent a lot of time at a production company writing scripts and writing short stories. And I always think in story. It's my passion. Whenever I have free time, I'm writing. If I'm not writing a story, I'm journaling. And if I'm not journaling, I'm having thoughts and putting notes into my phone. So I'm always kind of crafting stories. So I've been espousing this stuff to friends and family for years. So I'm glad that you find it helpful. Because sometimes I think other people can find it boring and annoying. I think it could be a sign of envy toward... Oh, okay. Going back to a little bit of Carrie Ann's notes here. I think it could be a sign of envy towards being cis. She wishes she was cuz instead of trans, maybe, that things would be easier for her if she was just cis, though you would need a lot to back up that. Fair enough. That would be that's kind of a question for I can't answer that on behalf of Carrie. Carrie would have to kind of tell us more about the intention. And then Carrie says, I think it works better if the daughter isn't visibly trans because she wants to be accepted as a trans woman by her family, but more than that, she wants to be accepted as a daughter without friction. She'd be more envious of a cis woman effortlessly greeted by her family because if she was a cis woman, her family wouldn't have a problem accepting her. The difficult part about that, and I don't know the answer because there's a little bit of there's some gymnastics here, is how do you visually infer that? Because that is such a complicated thought that we might not, that a cis audience who's going on this journey with you for a first time might not immediately get with the images that were given. If this was like a film noir, like a detective story, we would almost have like a narrator kind of saying it, which I'm not a fan of. I think we have enough voiceover dialogue happening as it is right now. I don't know the way to finesse that, but maybe it's just something that we come to understand later, and that's fine too. That's fine too. Carrie Ann, my thoughts on Save the Cat. I hated the attitude behind it, and is very good, very, very good at understanding a structure. of a specific type of movie. But I will say this: it's all about structure. You need to learn the rules before you can learn the rules. Can bend and break, yes. And there are a lot of people, Drowning Devil, who will say that they adamantly also hate Save the Cat. I've worked with a lot of them, a lot of other writers. But once again, like I said, it's kind of the thing that everyone has read. And it's a really great, just basic intro into the comprehension of story structure through movies that you have seen in Hollywood. There are people who play with structure all the time and get away with it successfully. Nolan comes to mind, and that'll be referenced a lot in that book, I think, as well. But if you've got to start somewhere, I would just start with the most common nomenclature and then start reading outwards from there. Robert McKee is good. Stephen King's On Writing is really fun, even though it's more about like the processes of writing and the journey of writing more so than it is about the structure. Aristotle's Poetics is literally the oldest, most foundational text. Aaron Sorkin swears by it. He says everything that you need to know is in Poetics. What else did I like? Man, I've read so many on story. I've forgotten more. I've forgotten so much. But you know, but I do read them over and over again. One, to remind myself. Oh wait, is it Into the Woods? Not the musical, but the shit. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's plenty out there, and they all do a really great job. And the more nuanced you get about it, the more examples you see, the more it becomes ingrained in you. Then you start to feel where your Act 1 ends and your Act 2 begins. You begin to feel the midpoint of your movie. You begin to feel that you need a false victory or a false defeat. You begin to feel like this is not character-driven and relationship-driven, so that's why my scene is falling flat. All that stuff you gain just with spending time like dealing with these examples that all of these other authors have set forth. Drowning Devil 12 says, I do like the idea of this being a movie up for some interpretation. My first example is something like how I know what you're talking about. I think it's called I Saw the TV Glow. And that was heavily symbolic, metaphoric, and subtextual. Yeah. Well, voiceovers can be fun when they're diegetic. Surprisingly, I got a lot of scriptwriting knowledge from Red Letter Media satirical review of The Phantom Menace. Share that with us if you don't mind, Carrie Ann. I think it's a fun way to learn too. Oh, you know what else I should tell you about? If you don't feel like doing Save the Cat, some guys that I really respect a lot are Craig Mason and John August. They have a podcast called Script Notes. You can literally start listening to that right now and upping your screenplay intelligence immediately. There's a free version, there's a paid version, and they are wonderful, insightful, full of knowledge. And they recently came out with a Script Notes book that kind of consolidates all of their most helpful advice. I would recommend listening to a few podcasts first so you can understand the voice that they're writing in. Because Craig can be a little sardonic, and you don't want to take something that's meant to be satirical or sarcastic as the truth. Script Notes, the book. I'm plugging these guys because I just love them. Going to copy and put a link in the chat for anybody who's interested. I love, love, love these guys, in case you haven't picked up on that. Okay. Let's see. I listen on my podcast app on my iPhone. I'm pretty sure you can listen to them on basically any podcast platform. Maybe. I feel like that's how they advertise. Ooh, peer-to-peer script reviews. That's a good recommendation as well, Carrie-Ann. Yeah. But literally, Drowning Devil, you Google script notes with Craig Mazin and John August, it'll come up. You'll find a way. It's all, and it's all ad-free, which I love. And, you know, if you also haven't finished anything, I just recently, by the grace of my beautiful loved one over here, listened to a podcast with the author of The War of Art and how we're always fighting against procrastination and reasons to not finish pieces. The War of Art. What is it? By Stephen Pressfield. It's also a fun book to read as well. The War of Art teaches you to defeat resistance. A really fun book and a fun take on how to get to the end of something. And a lot of writers have said this too, which is like the moment that they finish their first project, they kind of don't have as much trouble finishing others. You know, they understand what it takes to get to the end of something. And once you recognize what that is, it's a little easier to repeat. I'll put this here. The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. I hope I spelled Stephen right. I don't know if it's with a PH or a V. So if I mess up, I'm sorry, Stephen. Or Stephen. Or Stephen. Stephen. Okay, I did say I was going to read more. Let's keep reading, shall we? Let me finish reading out the chat here. Mine, as always, I get really excited by an idea for a few days, somehow plan out a bunch of story and do a bunch of research in those first few days, and then somehow find myself drained by the second chapter. Yes. Yeah. I talk about that a lot too in videos on the YouTube page. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. But what happens is we get excited because we're moved by a feeling. We essentially want to write a feeling. Normally you can journal a feeling and kind of exercise it from your system. But a story is something a little more special. Like you can have like a million ideas a day, but eventually there is going to be something that you come back to. For me, like I have a lot of story ideas. I have a master catalog of story ideas, but there's always just like only 2 or 3 that pop up while I'm in the shower, while I'm working out, or while I'm on a walk with the dog, that keep coming back to me, that have an impact on me, that I feel like I still want to really, really get out of my system. As you get older in age, you realize, okay, I have to work X amount of hours a week. I want to have time with my friends and family. I have to sleep. I have to eat, and sorry to be a little bit morbid, but the clock is always ticking down, right? So we have to always kind of decide, well, what is the story that I want to tell if I were not to be around 5 years from now, what's the thing that I would want people to have on their shelves to say, oh, that was Derek DeNicola's work, right? You have to decide that for yourself. You have to understand where your story, how your story starts. And also, a lot of reasons that people don't end up finishing is because they don't know how their story is going to end. If you can come up with your beginning and you know how you want to end it, you can discipline yourself to get through your story. And what we do here is we do vomit drafts. It's not a fun expression, but it's true. You get to failure faster. You can just vomit out a really, really terrible story that you don't want to show anyone, much less look at yourself. But you can't rewrite a blank page. So you have to give yourself something to work on. Give yourself the worst version of your story to work on. And much like whenever you're watching something at home and you're starting to predict story before it happens, it always happens in rom-coms. You can go and watch like a kind of lifetimey, very simple PG-13 rom-com, and you can start to tell what the setups are and like, oh, she says that because what did I just recently watch with Lisa, which was we watched a J-Lo office romance rom-com, and they talk about her being a pilot, and I just turned to Lisa and I was like, well, she's going to fly a plane, right? And sure enough, later on in the story, she's flying a plane, and it propels the plot forward. Whenever you become an audience to your own piece of work, you can start making those choices that you were judging as if you were reading somebody else's work, right? Like, I always say that I despise the writer who wrote this last week, talking about my own work. I'm a better writer every day because I pay attention to story, and I read books, and I read other people's stories, and I think about story, and I think about how to improve it. And so whenever I look back, I can judge my old work, but I have to use my new and improved mindset to fix it. So give yourself something to fix, I would say. Mookie, yeah, we said rom-com. Nothing will ever be love on the range. Welcome. How's work going? Did you have your budget meeting yet? Also, Hannah, H8D, what's up? How are you? And Tim Watts, hello. Tim Watts, how are you? How are things on your side of the world? Happy to have you here. This is my cool cup. And dog beers, I've only had one. Good. Saja boys, hi. Hey, what's up? If you're new to the vertical live stream, I'm writing over here. We're actually going over somebody's script over on Twitch and YouTube Live, just kind of talking about literature and screenplays and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to see what we're talking about, feel free to, click the link and jump on over to YouTube if you want to watch ad-free, or you can watch on Twitch if you want to. Your favorite color is white. Fantastic. Saja boys. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Happy that you stopped scrolling on me and gave me some of your time. Really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Mookie says he's off work tonight, so he's living large. Fantastic. What are you doing with your night off? I mean, obviously, I know you've got Twitch up, but what are you going to do? You going to, order in some food? You got something you want to watch? What's the plan? I'm always interested in people's lazy days. Yeah! And your favorite animal is a pigeon. I'm surprised. So you must really like doves, which are essentially all white pigeons, right? We should probably get back to the script eventually. Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's keep going. Carrie Ann, are you still there? I just want to double check because There's no point in going through your script without you. Yeah, you're still there. Okay. Thank you, Drowning Devil, for being the one to keep us on track. And to answer Saja Boy's question, I have listened to some K-pop. I am not an avid listener to K-pop, but I've had my fair listen to Cheshkis and BTS, and of course have seen K-pop Demon Hunters. So a little bit here and there. Do I like Lil Wayne? Funny. I'm from Louisiana, so yeah, I have I have a healthy respect for Lil Wayne. Mookie says my night off is being spent with Derek. Thank you, Mookie. A garden salad with some chicken. Very fresh cherry tomatoes. From the garden, Mookie. How elegant. Beautiful. Chef's kiss. Enjoy that salad. Mook, we're going to go through the last 5 pages of the next 5 pages of Carrie Ann's script. We're going to stop at page 10. We're going to talk about what we've seen. And then we're going to jump back into that Simpsons spec script. And I have some news for you on that. Here we go. A little hair in there. Gross. I don't know what happened. Here we go. Exterior O'Connell family home, 1992 day. Morning, 2 cars in the driveway, a yard sign, Ross Perot for president. Rory, 40s, patriarch, adjust the American POW MIA flags. Interior, Kelly's bedroom, day. A 13-year-old's bedroom, posters of comedians, Carlin, William. Wait, we've already read this. Oh, I see. This is where we're actually picking up. Interior, Colleen's car. Forgive me, everybody. Interior, Colleen's car, day. Kelly is in the passenger seat in the back seat. Martin, Moira, now 10, slumped, staring out the window. Colleen, in her 50s, is driving, wearing a crucifix necklace and a conservative housefrau attire. Why a wimple? Being late is a bad habit. A wimple is a good habit. Kelly and Martin groan. The car pulls up to a church. Other kids and parents are heading inside. Exterior church, day continuous. Kevin gets out, morose. Martin gets out, preparing to take over the passenger seat. Colleen calls after Kevin from the driver's seat. Kevin turns back. Yeah, Mom. Colleen smiles, but with worry. Just try not to give the nuns a hard time, okay? I don't want to get a phone call and have to pick you up early again. Kelly hangs her head. Okay. Kelly walks in slowly. Exterior O'Connell, family home, day. Colleen's car pulls into the driveway. Martin heads in first. Colleen hangs up her purse by the door. The answering machine is already blinking when they arrive home. Colleen sighs and presses the button. Oh, Evergoat, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate that. Colleen sighs and presses the button. Sister Mary Sarah. Hello, Mrs. O'Connell. This is Sister Mary Sarah. There was another incident with Kevin. Can you come pick him up? Colleen sighs, takes a deep breath, grabs her purse from where she hung it up. Interior, Kelly's room, day. Martin is sneaking into Kelly's room. She opens the underwear drawer, finds an unopened package of Kelly's underwear, looks around, grabs it. Colleen, off screen, calling, Moira, come back. We need to go and pick up your brother. Martin is startled, gasps, then relieved. That's got to be a new record. Interior, Mother Superior's office, day. Kevin is sitting on a chair in Mother Superior's office. While Martin meanders, curious, Colleen comes over to Kevin, sitting next to him, exasperated. Colleen, what was it this time? I told them that I wasn't going to do confirmation. Kevin, the whole point of CCD is to get you ready for confirmation. Sister Mary Sarah pointed that out as well. My follow-up was what seemed to get me in real trouble. Told them I couldn't do confirmation because I didn't believe in God. In the background, Mother Superior works at her desk. Kevin, I don't not believe in God, okay? It's just, I don't feel it, and I can't just have faith, and there's not much evidence for there being a God, right? Granny died. Kids at school hate me. I'm failing Lion's Quest. It's a self-esteem class. They literally grade how wrong I feel. How would you feel if you were being double words there, being graded on how you feel? Martin is sneaking up on Mother Superior in the background, trying to peek at Mother Superior's hair under her wimple. Can't you just go along with it for now? I thought about it. I did. But I can't. Confirmation is swearing to God. To a God I believe. If there's no God, then it's just theater. If there is a God, and I say I believe when I don't, it's perjury. Damned if I do, and damned if I don't. Catechism 22. Colleen frowns, closes her eyes, and places her hand against her temple, rubbing it. A stress headache. Colleen, you rehearsed that, didn't you? A flicker of smirk on Kelly's face. A little. Kevin, I don't need you to become St. Augustine. I just need you to stop getting thrown out of CCD. I know. I'm too disruptive. Disruptive? Back in the day, the nuns would have made you drink hemlock. The Mother Superior responds to Colleen's comment before Martin makes his move. That's not true. Not since Vatican II. Interior Colleen O'Connell's car, day. Both Kelly and Martin are in the back seat. They drive in silence. Interior King of Stars, stage, night. We return to Kelly mid-set. I was what they called a gifted kid, not gifted enough to skip grades, just gifted enough that adults became visibly annoyed when I was right. Laughter. Looking back, I think my family confused confidence with correctness, which was unfortunate because I had the confidence of a neurotic squirrel airdropped into the Westminster Dog Show. Interior office supply store. Rory, Kevin, Martin, and Colleen are looking at a corner desk shaped like this. This is perfect. We'll see that the desk is labeled 43 inches width. Yeah, but we can't get that one. Kelly's puzzled. Why not? Well, it doesn't look like it'll fit. You've only got 31 inches in the windowsill, remember? Colleen nods. Kelly furrows her brow. I think it might, Mom. Can I borrow your calculator? Colleen takes out a calculator from her purse and hands it to Kelly. Okay, 43 squared divided by 2. Take the root. There, 28.99 inches on the other side. On either side, Rory looks at the calculator confused. Martin, unnoticed by Rory, Kelly, and Colleen, looks at the tiled floor. You sure you did that right? Kelly bristles, shrinking a bit. I mean, I think that's how the Pythagorean theorem works. Colleen and Rory share a look. Rory, I mean, it's, what if you've made a mistake? I don't want to spend good money on a desk only to find that it doesn't fit. Martin is also deep in thought, looking at the tiled floor of the shop. Kelly, I suppose we could go over it again. Do you have a pencil and paper? Colleen starts looking through her purse. As she does, Martin drags the display model over on the floor with an obvious squeaking noise. He lines it up with the square tiles on both sides. This grabs everyone's attention. Finally, Martin kneels on the ground next to it, eyeballing it. Dad, tape measure. Rory unclips a tape measure from his belt and tosses it to Martin, who catches it, starts measuring from the end of the desk to where the tiles on the floor intersect. It's 29 inches. 29 inches, or close enough anyway. Kelly smiles. Rory grins at Martin. There you go. A second data point. Thanks, Moira. Kelly looks up at her dad with anticipation. So can we? I'm going to stop there. I just wanted to finish the scene. Let's go back up to where we picked up from on 5. The end of 5. Colleen's car. Here's something I was interested in. Also, just continuing to do a great job here, by the way. Carrie Ann. We talk about the aftermath of something really, really interesting that honestly I would like to see. And it's the lion, what's it called? The lion test? Trying to find it. Lion's Quest. The Lion's Quest. I'm more interested in seeing like Kelly being graded on how she feels rather than this kind of rehearsed speech that seems like maybe a little too smart for a 13-year-old. Not really sure. Some 13-year-olds are precocious and very intellectual, but it also feels a lot like the comedian dialogue that we're already getting from Kelly. in the present day London set. And some of these points are a little like redundant. Like I almost want to feel like Kelly has stuck it to Colleen and Mother Superior without having to over-explain. I mean, it's not that I don't believe in God. It's just that, I mean, I don't feel it. I just can't have faith, and there's not much evidence for there being God. I mean, because Granny died, and children starving in Africa, and blah, 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 blah. Like, we've heard, like, a lot of people have heard, like, a lot of reasons, good reasons for why there might not be a God. We don't need the big general reasons. What we need to do is we need to understand in metaphor why it applies to your character and how we learn about your character. Like, Granny died is close because now we know that one of these people who are a part of your flashbacks and a part of like why you've probably suppressed gender identity is because of something Granny told you, right? But I'm more interested in how a character feels in their relationship to something else, as opposed to the intellectual debate of whether there is or isn't a God, because this is not about that. This is a story about Kelly finding finding their way, gaining a sense of agency, and understanding, coming to terms with their gender identity. So all I need is like one sharp point as to why Kelly feels this way that reveals that about her character. I wonder if there's something about like gender in the Bible, right? Well, it says, you know, if you look at a Bible long enough, there's so many contradictory things that happen there. Oh, thank you, Kayla Crack. And also, hey, Jackson, what's going on? How's it going? What the heck? Tim Watts, I don't watch sports. I'm sorry. I'm a big nerd. So, my bad. And I don't know Stray Kids. I'm sorry. But does that make sense, Carrie Ann? Like what I was trying to say? Ducky Subway, what are we talking about? We're talking about scripts. We're actually reading through one of our very talented writers who's in the community right now, Carrie Ann Author, over on Twitch, has shared a draft of her very personal, poignant, and very well written screenplay, feature-length screenplay with us. And we're just kind of talking about it as writers would, trying to explore the ins and outs of what we find interesting. Then you have this, I wonder if this doesn't tie back into what we were trying to do in that first 5 pages, Carrie Ann, where you have your brother who I believe you said has transitioned and your family's more accepting of like Moira than they were of your transition. And we had that bit. You said you had that bit about your main character being envious of the family accepting the daughter. But what's really crazy, and I've told this to you, I've expressed my sentiments to you about this before, is that what's crazy is that your family has already accepted somebody who has transitioned, but not you, which is the most, like, if I were to write something on the nose that seems almost unbelievable, I wouldn't have thought to have come up with that. But truth is stranger than fiction. And whenever you say, you know what else I was thinking too, just kind of on instinct reading it, I know it's kind of like a setup punchline where the mom in this script tells Kelly to don't get in trouble again. I want to pick you up early. And then basically Less than a scene later, we get the, hey, do you want to come pick up Kelly? We've had an issue again. I kind of want to see the thing that gets her into trouble. I want to see her being grated on her feelings. I kind of want to see the things that you're dancing around. I find them to be very, very interesting, yet we only just kind of talk about the beginning and the end of them. But I wonder if you challenged yourself to start in the middle of these actions. As someone who was like kind of forced to go to Catholic church, for the first, like through 6th grade or something like that, I never heard of Lion's Quest. And I am so intrigued by the nicheness of it that I feel like it would come across as unique in this script. I do. Do I know who Messi is? The world knows who Messi is. Come on now. But hi, Wanra, 1001, and Emmanuel Montiero. You need to listen to Stray Kids? Okay. Oh, you're from Brazil. Oh, fantastic. Nice to meet you. Thank you for tuning in. What time is it over in Brazil? Also, hola. ¿Cómo estás? Wait, that's Spanish. I don't know. Does that work? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be culturally insensitive if I was. Okay. Well, we have a chat full of writers. Did anybody else pick up on anything? You never heard of Lion's Quest? Yeah. I just find it very interesting. Carrie Ann says, I could put in a Lion's Quest scene, but there just isn't room for it. As for the notes, yeah, the scene seems like it's about the relationship, but this is actually demonstrating a fatal flaw of the characters, because this isn't a story about Kelly finding her way or coming to terms with her gender identity. The fatal flaw is she believes that if she just explains herself, people will understand her. Okay, that's what she believes. Her need, in the want-need sense, is that she has to learn that that's not going to work. Okay. But what is the want? So we have a fatal flaw, and we have a need. She needs to learn that it's not going to work. But so the fatal flaw is that it's interesting. How want to believe is kind of hope. But to want to believe something is just kind of a little tangential to want. How can we put it in a sentence where it's like Kelly wants blank, or like not wants to hope for or be hopeful for or believe that. She wants to attain this. She wants to change this. And the reason that I say that is because the simpler you can make that sentence, the clearer all of the scenes in the story will become. Carrie says, referencing they accept Martin but not Kelly. Well, that's one of the big revelations that comes out in Act 3, but this is actually quite common for trans people and their families to a lot of people. I did not know this. To a lot of people, becoming a man is gaining something, while becoming a woman is throwing things away. Wow. I wonder, just because that's new information to me and you just educated me, if that doesn't belong somewhere earlier, so I can kind of understand contextually why. I don't know. Lion's Quest was actually through public school in New Jersey. It wasn't niche, but mainstream in the early 1990s. Huh. Interesting. Drowning Devil says, dude, I'm a trans man, but I'm a gay trans man, so a lot of people, including my family, say you're straight with extra steps. In general, the world sees anything even related to femininity as a flaw and a weakness. Interesting. I love that, Drowning Devil. I'm so glad that you're in the chat for this. Because I can talk about story all day long, but I can't talk about experience, not in any meaningful sense. Carrie says, I know what you're saying about wanting to see Lion's Quest or the argument with the nuns, but that would add nothing to the central conflict. Okay, that's actually a good point. I see the relationship is between Kelly and Colleen, not Kelly and the nun, or Kelly and the Lion's Quest class. You know what? You're absolutely right. I think my curiosity to understand that probably clouded my story judgment. That was a selfish story want on my part, not something that necessarily served your character. Kelly wants the acceptance of her family as herself. She needs to learn that she will never get it. Okay. There's an entire book on how transphobia is 99% trans misogyny, called Whipping Girl by Dr. Julie Serrano. I'm going to put this in my tab for later. Thank you for sharing that, Carrie Ann. It's really important to have these conversations. I'm only sad that there's only like so little people in the chat to share in this experience. There's a very bleak look at family life. Yeah, and you know, that's the thing is like, well, man, I would love it to end all warm and fuzzy, but this is Carrie Ann's story. And not all stories have a happy ending. And sometimes the happy ending is just, it seems like maybe where this would go in a more stereotypical story structure way is self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is the only acceptance that the character needs. You know, that's a common way out of these family acceptance stories. Yeah, I can say, hi, how are you? I'm not a robot. Hi, how are you? Because people just don't know. You're right. And I just don't know either. I'm happy to help with story structure and drama, but I don't have all the answers. And at some point, we have to tell the story the best way we can. And you just need to take or leave whatever works for you whenever it comes from me, FYI. I do want to make your story as engaging as possible, so people stick around for it, that's for sure. Oh, it does, in the post-credits scene? I love that you already have a post-credits scene thought out. Drowning Devil says, while many trans people won't have the acceptance from their families, that is where community comes from. I know this is your story, but I do wonder if it would be satisfying to have an ending where she finds love from the people who really do care. You know what, Drowning Devil, you kind of hit the nail on the head. And I don't know what the fourth draft contains, but in previous drafts, Carrie Ann did find her chosen family. I'm sorry, Kelly in the story did find her chosen family in the London comedy scene. Not triumphant, but all right, which feels like a more honest ending, especially in the world that we live in. Emmanuel says, sorry, my English is very bad. I don't understand anything you're saying, but I thought you were nice. Gracias, Emmanuel. I appreciate you. Te aprecio. Or wait, you said you're from Brazil. Denada? I think that works in Portuguese as well. Okay, but I mean, you know, thank you. Yeah, I have to do it. But Carrie Ann, I think, as always, a wonderful and talented writer. I hope like our discussion and our reading helped out. Sometimes like we have notes and ideas, and the note is not the note. I have videos on this too. No one is going to understand your story better than you. But if we ever have any sort of like obstinance or lack of clarity, ultimately you have to decide like what brought that on and how you will decide to solve it. Or if sometimes a reader just doesn't get it the first time. Sometimes people just miss it, miss the vision. And it's true, like here I am reading while I'm also like keeping an eye on the chat, and I have a dog whimpering at me who needs dinner. Things get missed. Things get lost in translation. Doesn't mean that everything's good or bad, You're on the Discord? Oh, I thought you meant like you're on the Discord right now. But yeah, go make friends on the Discord, Drowning Devil. Let me go ahead and put a link in there in case you're not on there. So you can go and see more of Carrie Ann's work and check out the script, which is amazing. And she's been so gracious in sharing. You'll find that not a lot of writers want to share their work. But we need to. We need to share our work in order to make it better. It's hard to write in a vacuum. And we ultimately are writing so that somebody reads what we have to say, aren't we? So better to do it here. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Let's get back to this. Let's get back to this Simpson spec script, please. Digital writer's room. What is this? Full screen. Digital writer's room. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's see. I do think a lot of stuff in the first act that seems like, why did you make the decision? It's a bit unconventional. Might work better if you see the second and third act, so you can see why I focused on it. Yeah, 100%. But that's too much to ask on the first script. I don't know. Mookie says, sounded a little bit like Ed Grimley there. Drowning Devil says, I love going from a very heartfelt story of transitioning and acceptance that not everyone will come to accept you to The Simpsons. Carrie Ann saying, for anybody who's interested, their full script is available on Discord, by the way. If you want to get, I believe you said you're looking for beta readers, right, Carrie Ann? So, let's do that. Let's do that for her. If you guys have the time, this is how we get better. Drowning Devil, hell yeah, definitely will read it. Fantastic. See, Carrie Ann? Because you posted that a few days ago, and I don't know if anybody took you up on it. But now, you have somebody beta reading your script. Fantastic. I love it whenever stuff happens like that. And then Emmanuel, are you Catholic? No, lo siento. Are you Catholic? Let's see. How do I say that? Okay. I was trying to look up some Portuguese. It's not really working. Here we go. Mookie, we were talking while you were putting together your beautiful garden salad about the Simpsons structure and how, I was actually using like a Bill Lawrence structure from Scrubs that I had learned. And I was like, oh, maybe all sitcoms are the same with the runners, the C stories that happen with like, in Scrubs, it's the janitor, brain trust, sweaty lawyer guy, Ted, that kind of stuff. And they have 3 intersecting stories. Well, The Simpsons, I was looking it up earlier to make sure that I was being accurate, and it's apparently just an A and B story. And I was thinking, okay, I might have to lose one of these storylines in order to really write this thing justly, like a Matt Groening style script. And while you were here, Drowning Devil was looking through the B story, A story, B story, C story. And we had a small revelation where he was like, Bart using AI to not learn to code to annoy people is very Bart, while Lisa is having this very like organic story where she wants this tactile art, this new saxophone, but can't get it. And it kind of is a beautiful contrast between B and C, while story A ends up feeling more like what story B is. Like, these tech bros are already kind of doing the UFC White House fight, red pill manosphere culture, right? And so if we can only have 2 storylines that fit the outline of a Simpsons spec script, what if we integrated story A and B together and then kept our story C, made this like what if we made this our B story, and then kept the A story and started folding it in to whatever this UFC stuff ended up being, right? And so now we have like something that's more of like a gimmick, because this UFC on the White House lawn, that's a plot device, but it's not a story. Where in this do we see like what Homer wants? How do we see Moe's Tavern benefiting from it? Here we have a clear angle on Bart in story A and a clear angle on Lisa and what she wants in story B, and 2 opposite ends of a pre-existing theme about the creation of art and being artificial. And oh my God, guys, I just thought of the title of the story. The title of the Simpsons story is called Artificial Intelligence. Huh? Is everybody feeling that? Am I being crazy? Or is that cool? am I sniffing my own farts here? Is that a good title? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I can't tell. Let me see. What did the chat say? I was raised Catholic, but do not practice. Goodbye, friend. Adios, amigo. Thank you, Emmanuel. De nada. Buenos dias. Let's see. I'm just checking the chat here. I was raised Catholic, did not practice. Samesies, Carrie. Never was confirmed. Still have the guilt, though. I did not keep that guilt. No, thank you. I guess I'm lucky in that respect. Drowning Devil said I had a very non-religious upbringing, but I was always very curious of religion, though I found in adulthood that I legit just can't understand religion, and it's causing me to be slightly insensitive to religious people. I'm working on this, by the way. I just saw. Let me see. What about? I saw some actor's quote, and he had a very beautiful statement. I can't remember what it was, but it was like, I can respect people's religious beliefs, but I can't respect them using it to oppress other people. That's what it was in a nutshell. And I was like, oh, that's probably the most diplomatic way to put it. Like, because I can very confidently say none of us know. Me, I choose to act as I'm not going to act as if there is like an omnipotent, like white bearded skyman directing everything. I'm not going to change my behavior based on a belief like that. But this is a strange and mysterious universe, and I'm not going to pretend that I know one way or the other. I'm just going to get very comfortable in my I don't know. And you shouldn't be asking me that kind of thing. And now I'm just going to live my life. I don't know if you guys feel the same way or not. Ooh, Bart official, or maybe Bart official intelligence, just tossing out variations, but I can dig Bart official intelligence. Yeah, keep it as is. Oh, you like that? Okay. It's cool. I do think The Simpsons did do an AI episode, though. Always room for more. They did. Lisa owns a horse twice. Yeah, and honestly, we're just playing around with this. That's the thing about The Simpsons. Like, when we first started this, I was like, look, every Simpsons episode has already been written. They've just done it. They've just done everything. So how do you write a relevant Simpsons episode? Well, that's how we kind of got on the train of pitching something topical, right? And last week it was that stupid UFC fight at the White House, and it's like, okay, well, what's the Simpsons version of that? But all it really did was lead us down the path to what we have now. I'm realizing big glare in the glasses, huh? But thanks for bearing with me. So, let's start pitching. Cold opens and couch gags are normally kind of separated from the actual story itself. We have bits and pieces of 3 acts right now if we start to push things together. I'm less concerned about these UFC things. They can kind of be background noise, or they could end up being pushed to our act 2, and it's the fun promise of the premise. What's the most dude bro-y thing Bart can do with his money? He's going to throw a UFC fight at the Springfield Town Hall. Or we were also talking about, well, what's the worst place to throw a UFC fight? And so we came up with the Washington Memorial or something like that. But in Springfield, what if it was we've just been speaking about the church a lot. What about like what if, religion, the popularity of religion in America uh, has actually fallen. So we could tie in another cultural moment where the church, desperate for money, tithes, donations, and not to mention, um, whenever tech bros donate to charity, they're doing it for like tax breaks. Often they'll start their own charities and donate to themselves to keep the flow of money insular. Um, but we could also have Reverend Lovejoy. It wouldn't be uncommon sorry, it wouldn't be out of character for Bart to torture Reverend Lovejoy by buying the church and using it as an arena, like what would Jesus punch? There's like opportunities for how Bart would defile the church if he were to get that tech bro money and use it to throw a UFC fight in a church. But you guys are the writers. You're in the writer's room. What are y'all thinking? Bart official. Yeah, just tossing it. Okay. Drowning Devil says, I will say follow religious creators has helped me quite a bit in understanding them as people. I came across this Christian woman on my feed, and she is an absolute darling. Christianity encouraged her to be a better mother for her daughter, and I honestly think that's beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely. It does have its merits, of course. That's why I say like that actor's quote was so good. It's just the moment that you weaponize it, or try to use it to oppress people or instill fear or shame, then it's not serving its purpose. Mookie MC, maybe the couch can sit up on its end and the springs pop out of the couch with boxing gloves on and someone gets knocked out. But Maggie is the only one. Oh, you're pitching a couch open. The couch gag. Oh, here's our a little note. Unsanctioned fights, cheap. Couch gag. Couch. Couch cushions. Spring. Couch cushion springs. Have boxing gloves on them and knock out everyone but Maggie. That's a cool couch gag. That's wild, but I love the idea of the first fight being something like, our next fighter is Jesus Christ. So good that when he lost his last fight, he was revived. I like that, except that would be great for South Park, who actually has a Jesus character. I don't think the Simpsons have a live Jesus character, but close would be like Flanders, putting Flanders in a octagon church fight. Or Reverend Lovejoy himself, That would be the closest that the Simpsons would get to a Jesus Christ character in the octagon. I'll just put that in Act 2 where it would be. Oh, it'd just be one of the side characters dressed as Jesus. Pick a side character. Who do you want to be in there? Sideshow Bob. Who's the drunk guy? Barney? Barney is Jesus. I'll put it in here. Maybe Barney as Jesus. Reverend Timothy Lovejoy Jr. Okay, here we go. Okay. Let's sorry, I'm starting another live. Okay. Of course, Bart could just promise him a 6-pack or something. I think Bart is going to be loaded at this point. Remember, our A story is now Bart creates an app for prank calling Moe's Tavern. I'm sorry, I don't know if you guys can read this. Let me read through. Let me catch people up on like the plot points that we've developed. Bart creates an AI app for prank calling Moe's Tavern because he's run out of ideas. The app is super successful. Bart becomes a tech bro CEO. Moe finds a can of 20-year-old beer and Barney drinks it. I don't know how relevant that is. I'm going to put that off to the side. Dr. Julius Hibbert and Nick Rivera as ringside doctors. Okay, that's... So look, we know that if we're going to do this UFC fight and we really want to keep it in there, we also know we have a beat of Bart decides to spend his money in the most insane way possible, right? Something like that. Kind of like will kick us into Act 2. It'll be like that that Blake Snyder movie, Blank Check. What happens whenever you give Bart $100 million? You know, that's our Act 2, the promise of the premise. So we have this. What's really interesting, y'all, that goes back to our B story. Our B story is Lisa tries a brand new sax at King Toot's Music Emporium and falls in love with how it plays, but can't afford it. Meanwhile, Bart is literally getting all the money in the world. Now we're having some sort of like trillionaire Elon Musk tech bro topical thing where this shallow AI work is being rewarded while a real tactile artist with a human touch to their art can't afford a new instrument, right? So it would be interesting if after Bart becomes a multimillionaire, Lisa asks Bart for the saxophone. And of course, Bart responds by spending the money doing something. I have a better idea. Let's put that money towards something that's actually interesting, right? So while Bart is spending like a madman, Lisa sells something precious to her to get the money. And that'll be at the beginning of our Act 2, right? So then their storylines will start running in contrast with one another. When she goes to buy it, it's been sold. That's its own beat. And then Instead of Homer, we'll change this to Bart. And then Bart will have the heart of gold instead of Homer. Because now their stories are interconnected and interceding, right? And this is what I like about this story is that it's surprisingly kind of simple. You have two people on equal but opposite paths whenever it comes to wealth and class. It's a tale as old as time. I think it's going to be, it should be pretty clear, right, to do this. To tell the story and have a general understanding of how we want it to play out. And maybe that's the tag. I don't know. We can debate the tag, what the tag is, when we get there. Drowning Devil says, ooh, what if Bart teams up with Barney? Bart promised him a lifetime supply of beer, and maybe we find out that Barney was like the first guy to invest in AI in Springfield. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Is that characteristic of Barney, though, to be a secret millionaire? Because remember Barney's want. Barney's want is to basically be drunk all of the time, and he puts all of his time and money into going to Moe's, and he's always desperate for beer. I imagine if he had the money to invest in AI, he wouldn't have invested in AI. He would have invested in kegs of beer or bought his own bar or something like that. I can also picture that if you were trying to do like an early adopter of AI in Springfield, maybe Professor Fink or Mr. Burns. Maybe Professor Fink is the inventor of the AI. He's not notoriously wealthy, but we do have a notoriously wealthy character in Springfield already that could be the evil backer. And I can't believe we haven't mentioned Mr. Burns until now, but I imagine Bart sells his AI to Mr. Burns. Don't you guys think? Who is now into AI, maybe / data center. Oops, data center. They're all the rage. That's also a hot topic that's playing into this right now. Drowning Devil says, could in the episode to Bart seeing his sister crying over the sacks, and Bart not only gives his sister the money, but he donates it. Maybe he doesn't tell Lisa where the rest of the money went, but we see the credits and something a few families get money from Bart. Oh, that's nice. I like that too. Well, I like that. I'm going to take a part of that, Drowning Devil. The tag is Bart gave the last bit of his money to a unexpected charity. But here's what I would say is like, this is the heartwarming moment. Bart gives the sax to Lisa. If he uses the last of his money to do it. But if she's like, well, you know, the saxophone didn't cost, $100,000 and that's what you had left. What'd you do with the rest of your money? Oh, I gave it to charity or something like that. The tag is always funny. The tag always makes you, the goal of the tag is to squeeze in one last laugh. And right now your tag is sweet and sentimental and nice, but we've just had that moment. We need like that bathos. We need to bathos out of the heartwarming moment and remind everybody that it's a sitcom. So we start on a laugh and we end on a laugh. Mookie, AI and data centers need a lot of electricity. Yes. What is your point of that, though? Like, what here is? Oh, I see. I see. So, are you saying that um, as Bart's ascension into wealth increases, we see the town of Springfield suffering? As the data centers, well, I guess as the app becomes more popular, the data center, that's the consequence. As the app becomes more popular, the data centers use more water slash energy, and Springfield suffers from rolling blackouts, and I'll just put energy crisis. Because what I would do in this situation is I would Google like what happens in an energy crisis, and I would just make sure all of those things apply to Springfield. There are blackouts and there's something else. This is the false victory, and now we have a defeat. That's coinciding with this. Probably happens right here, somewhere at the end of Act 2. We need to start making things turn around in Act 3. This goes down here. This is more Act 3. Tags down here. These are 2 potential tags. Uses the AI to be better or worse to mow. Let's see. So maybe they need electricity from the nuclear factory. Okay, burns in the nuclear power plant. I also like your idea, though. Could include a thing of the 3-eyed fish getting even more mutated. Oh, yeah, like, I'm going to put a Post-it note. I'll put cameo from 3-eyed fish. I don't know where it belongs yet. I know it's going to be in the second half of the story, but that's our little Post-it note just to remind us to do it. Okay. Our B story's looking a little light too. Don't forget to pitch some Lisa ideas as well. Drowning Devil says, could include a thing of the... oh, no, I already read that. Sorry. It's all mine. My stomach growls into microphones. Hey, hi, pups. 235 and Miranda Chunk and Yay the Tarot. Mommy Shira said the bad word. Interesting. Happy to have you here, guys. I'm writing a story over on YouTube Live and Twitch. If you guys want to come see the big digital whiteboard, we're writing a Simpsons spec script. True. Okay, so they need a lot of electricity. So Mr. Burns has the nuclear power plant. I wonder, like, what happens if the AI data center uses more power than the nuclear power plant can provide? So the power... so it's almost like the nuclear power plant is powering just the AI data center and no longer Springfield. It could cause like a little mob. I could see Mr. Burns being like, oh no, a mob, the lynch mob, the torture smithers, something like that. I don't know. Maybe could do Lisa doing a lemonade stand. But oh, yeah. Just trying to... Ooh, what's something that Lisa could do to try and raise money that involves electricity or energy? Like, she's trying to raise the money by doing this thing, but now she can't power, you know, I still like the idea of the lemonade stand. It might advance past lemonade stand. Lisa starts a lemonade stand to raise the money. But somehow this AI data center is ruining it. Like they don't have enough water to water the lemon trees, or it causes a serious depression, and like people can't even afford 50-cent lemonade anymore. Like it needs to be affected by this data center. Also, like let's think about the character of Lisa. Like, yes, a kid would start a lemonade stand, but Lisa Simpson would, what would Lisa Simpson do to raise money? Tutor, make protest signs for people and charge them for it. She would get a blue collar job at a she would work at like a wind farm. I don't know. Like Lisa has a very specific character, right? She has her own voice, and we kind of know what Lisa would or wouldn't do, right? Can we pitch some Lisa forward ideas for raising money? Mookie says, I was thinking more of the money power hungry Charles Montgomery Burns, who owns the power plant and maybe ends up demanding more money from Bart. Oh, and Bart is clued in on corruption in business. Interesting. Okay. That's a fun turn. Is Mr. Burns extorts Bart and shows the underbelly of the energy business. Something like that right here. Cypher, yo, what's going on? I'm doing good. It's been a while, Cypher. We're writing a Simpsons spec script. We're just having a little fun over here. Just kind of throwing some creative spaghetti against the wall, seeing what sticks. Putting things in their proper act, so to speak. But I like how this has kind of started to fold in on itself and consolidate, right? And I also love an episode with a Mr. Burns. He's so cool. When you have that much money, you can literally do anything. As well as can be. Hey, that's what we ask for. Be as well as we can be. It's so good to see you. How was your streams going? How was your streams going? I don't think that's a good sentence. Let me see here. Am I caught up? Keep the faith and keep strong. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Do. Fantastic. I know we're in a very small category, but I'm just really happy with all the people that we have here. Jambit, you're back. Thanks for the lurk. I know you haven't said hello in the chat yet. Ducky's Subway. Or wait, Ducky Subway. Or Ducky's Ubway. Hey, how's it going? Shademaster Jade, good to see you. Happy to have you in the Twitch. Cypher says, got my sci-fi novel on the query circuit. Fantastic. Then went back to a spy novella. Decided to scrap 90% of it because I've learned so much since I first wrote it. All for the better, of course. Of course. Fantastic. Yeah, you're putting your name on it. You want it to be the best it could be. 100%. I'm on the 9th draft of my historical fiction book, and got some major changes to make. Scythe, and it's grueling. I've already got 44 chapters. I'm adding a new chapter, and I'm rewriting all of these execution scenes, and I don't think my character's emotional arc is strong or clear enough, and man, oh man, it is a slog. It is a slog to get that far and then have to make such a big change, but it's necessary. And it must be done, so we will do it. So if you ever wrote a spec script, you want to help us write a little bit of a Simpsons story? He said, I wrote a fight scene today as observed from the eyes of a ballet dancer. It was fun. It might be the best fight scene I've ever written because it reveals so much character. I can only imagine. The clean lines, the extension, the flexibility, the grounded power. The fight or the dance? That's really cool. Can't wait to read it. Well, we've got about 25 more minutes. Love The Simpsons in the early days. Yeah, it ebbs and flows. Every now and again, they'll succeed again, but you're right. They did have a heyday. This one's called Bartificial Intelligence. And Bart creates an AI app whenever he runs out of ideas to call and torment Moe's Tavern with, and then uses AI to like generate like cruel, clever wordplay things to say to Moe, and then it takes off, it becomes very, very popular, and it's bought by Mr. Burns, who of course is also getting into data centers because they take so much energy, and he's basically paying himself. You know, it's the underbelly of owning power, and then the big thing that absorbs it, and it's this huge money cycle where he keeps the money insular, and it affects the people of Springfield. And the only rich person is Bart, and he uses his money for nefarious pranks and stuff until he learns his lesson. While our B story is Lisa being like a tactile artist who finds a saxophone that plays like a dream. You know, also maybe we can. Lisa's had this saxophone for a long time. What if Lisa just has a plot point where Lisa's saxophone gets destroyed? Because it's also a little unlike Lisa's character to want an excess, but it is in Lisa's character to replace what she needs. Right? I could see Bart being excessive, but we want to be true to Lisa's character for our B story. But she plays the saxophone that plays like a dream, but she can't afford it. Meanwhile, Bart is becoming a red pill CEO bro and like using his money to host a UFC style fight at the Springfield church. And Lisa's trying her best to raise money, but the town's suffering so much that she can't raise enough to buy her own saxophone. There's a confrontation between Bart and Mr. Burns where he learns the cold hard truth of what he's contributed to. The big revelation. Bart has to spend the rest of his money probably to save the town. Only has a little bit left. Lisa wonders what he did with it. Turns out he bought the saxophone for it. Classic Matt Groening Heart of Gold moment. And then some sort of tag, which we haven't really decided on or come up with yet at the end. Yeah. You're going to keep me up with the script. I'll hang a bit more. This is too good to pass. Yeah, so what we're doing is we're just, we're treating this like a digital writer's room, Syph. We're just, and like I said, I know you're trying to go to bed. A lot of people are trying to go to bed. I get it. I get it. But we have about 20 more minutes left where we can throw some more scene ideas. Keep in mind, we have a story A, we have a story B, we have 3 acts. Wherever your idea is, like, let's develop it a little bit and we'll put it in its right place before we start putting all of our story together in more of an outline form. I know this is an outline, but this is a nice, like, little visual outline. Eventually we're going to write like a rough synopsis, so we'll know exactly what our homework is whenever we start doing things in script format. Oh, I think a typical, we were talking about this, a typical Simpsons episode is about 30 minutes. With commercials, which it still has, it's probably somewhere around 22 minutes, which means about 22 pages. However, it is animation, which should move pretty fast. And often in times in animation, writers of animation will overwrite scripts with the expectations that things will get cut during the animation process. So, to answer that question, we are aiming for somewhere between 30 to 35 pages of script, ideally. If we go over, that's still fine. But we're expecting essentially this to get cut down to 22 pages whenever it reaches our non-existent animator team. Oh, it's on the left. Oh, sorry. Can everybody see? I know, sorry. It's just the best I can kind of do while keeping it legible. On the screen. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. Over here was stuff that we already pitched. And also, we're accepting couch gags. One was thematic to this UFC fight. A couch cushion springs. The couch turns vertical, and springs come out of the cushions with boxing gloves and fight off each Simpson character with the exception of Maggie. Was an idea that's pitched. Oh, you like the title? Yes, thank you. Ooh, Mookie's pitching an idea for how the saxophone is either destroyed or lost. Maybe her saxophone is accidentally left in the back seat of the car. Marge drives it into town, and the saxophone gets stolen or misplaced. So we have destroyed, stolen, misplaced. Eventually we're going to have to decide on what that is as a team here. But I like that it involves Marge. Or, now that we've done this, it's kind of like, where's Homer, too? Let's say Homer and Marge drive Lisa's saxophone into a bad part of town and it gets destroyed, stolen, or misplaced. Or instead of town, how about Shelbyville? Have to be in Shelbyville for some reason. Great effing title. Thank you. I wouldn't doubt if this title exists already, to be honest with you. I'm kind of hesitant to Google it because I have a feeling it already exists. But it is what it is for right now. Maybe somehow makes its return later. Ooh. So there could be a beat where So instead of like buying the new saxophone, you're saying that Bart uses his money / resources to track down Lisa's original saxophone? So the saxophone remains canon? Cypher says Lisa can fight against AI use of an individual's likeness. Ooh, okay. Who? I like the idea that to like build on the idea, instead of Bart buying Lisa the new saxophone, he just generates like a saxophone music, or generates a likeness of Bleeding Gums Murphy. One of my favorite episodes. It would be fun. That'd be a fun but also kind of heartbreaking way to bring him back. And I can imagine Lisa having a very bad visceral reaction. Lisa has a very bad visceral reaction. Tech Bro CEO, and I'll put a la Zuckerberg, so we know how to model him, you know? Just put him in a hoodie. And what was like, he always wore like the same thing, right? Zuckerberg, he did like a hoodie and jeans or something like that. We can make it very apparent. We can make Bart's sharp hair kind of like curly. It's okay. It's okay, John. I'm glad you're reading the script. I think it's awesome that you're just participating in the community. Zuckerberg. Zuckerbart. Zuckerbart. I don't know. Bartenberg. Zuckerberg. Used back in 2005. Oh, you Googled it. Oh, God. Okay. Okay. Well, you know, we'll brainstorm another title later. I don't want to get hung up on the title. I'm more concerned about the story. I had a feeling. It was too good. Of course they did. All right, guys. I don't know if you could hear it in my throat. It's getting a little dry. I'm gonna get a little more to drink. Whenever I come back, I'm gonna check the chat. I'm gonna see what ideas have been thrown around. Okay. Okay. The fridge is a short distance away. Never fear use of an old title. Oh, good. Let's see. Are we starting to see how the story is going to unfold? Like, it's starting to feel very apparent, right? Let's see. On average, I wonder if this exists, the information. wonder if there's like an average of how many scenes are in a typical Simpsons script. I want to say like maybe 40, if I were to guess, upwards of. Maybe I'm wrong. Somewhere between 30 and 45. Of course, it's not set in stone. Okay. I was right. Let's rub it in, but I was right. Okay. Mookie says, "Oh, it's not quite the same as what we're doing. It was a Treehouse of Horror segment and a pun of Spielberg's AI, artificial intelligent movie." Cypher says, "Do you utilize setup, wants, and catches? Don't want to go too deep if you're keeping this light, but I find it very useful." Yeah. So, not so much catches, but wants. I always do that whenever I'm telling a story. I am kind of keeping it lighter for the Simpsons spec script. I'll tell you why, Syph. Is because we were doing some original story development on here earlier, like literally making like a sci-fi camp horror movie kind of situation. And it became very, very tedious from week to week to catch everybody up on original characters, original concept, go back to the story outline, and only being able to stream for just a handful of hours, addressing multiple chats. It just became a little too much. So we pivoted to The Simpsons one because basically everybody is already familiar with these characters and the tone of the show and the environment and the location. So we can kind of just we're keeping it light and open so that people who are joining the chat late or didn't come in the last week can kind of jump in and still feel engaged and participate. But with that, I want to bring up something that Cypher said, and we brought up earlier with Carrie Ann Author, which is a character's want is the thing that will really drive the story. It is the most helpful thing. If we can come up with something that a character wants, Lisa wants to replace her saxophone. We know that her overall want in the story is that she loses her saxophone, she wants to replace her saxophone, and all of her wants and all of the scenes leading up to that are in service to this big overall want. It helps us drive the story. It's our touchstone. So that's how we know what scenes will ultimately survive and not. With story A, we have a little bit of a dissonance because we're having this fun gag with Bart becoming a tech CEO and becoming basically Mr. Burns Jr. It's almost an exploration of what do you do when you have infinite wealth and people pay you millions of dollars for your app, but you're destroying the world. Well, we can do that here now. We can answer that question. What does Bart want? We haven't actually had to handle that. Lisa's is very clear. What does Bart want? And this should also help us create a narrow street to drive our story down. No wrong answers, and sometimes the wrong answer will lead us to the right answer. Sometimes a bad suggestion, I like to say, is like flipping a coin in the air. You think you don't know what you want, but the moment that it lands in your palm and you flip it over and slap it down on the top of your hand, you go, I hope it's heads. I do want pizza, or whatever it is that you're trying to decide. I often use a coin flip to debate what I eat, so that's why you got that metaphor. Example, not metaphor. Cypher, all of a sudden, I can see Bart with an entourage and the bully kid as his head of security. Yes, excellent. So that's promise of the premise. That's going to be in our Act 2 once he becomes the millionaire. Let's move this down a little bit. Bart. We'll say Bart buys an entourage and security team led by Nelson. Excellent. Excellent. Fantastic. I love that idea. That's right. Scythe knows. Let me check YouTube. No ideas over there. Okay. In the last 5 minutes, guys, this is shaping up. This is shaping up really, really nicely. We've come a long way since, and I know we spent a lot of time working on Carrie Ann's story up top. But it's amazing how much shape this story has taken, even in just only the last half of this stream. We've consolidated some storylines. We've really built out, I can see like the beginning and the end of an A story, B story. I would just say let's try and make Bart's want clear. Sometimes, and I think this happens in a lot of Simpsons episodes, like I'm not afraid to say something, and this could be wrong, I'm happy to change it, but like Bart wants anarchy. His character is a bit of a wild card. He introduces trouble. That's his game mechanic, as it were. He likes to be a little hellraiser. He likes to cause trouble. Lisa likes to bring peace. Lisa likes to stand on her soapbox. Lisa wants to make the world a better place, and Bart wants to make the world his plaything. That's anarchy, but I kind of like how I just phrased it. Bart wants to make the world his plaything. Lisa wants to make the world a better place. Maybe that's off screen, but I'm putting it here. Friendly little reminder. Yes, he's the Joker thing, right? He shake the box to see what happens. What's going on here? I'm sure you're fine. Automod is crazy. What did you write? Decided to allow it, but I don't know what I missed. I'm sure you're fine. Oh, wait. Shake the box? Is that what it flagged? That's stupid. Really? Wow. Okay. Automod doing its job, I guess. Barely. Okay. So, so as we're nearing the end of this, I'll tell you what, if you want to throw any last minute ideas, I'll take them for sure. But what we're going to start doing is next time we come here, we're going to start being more specific about these beats and then trying to stack them in an order that makes linear chronological sense. And that's going to be shaky, but you can't edit a blank page. We have to rough out this draft. And we're also going to start seeing where we have some holes. I already can kind of see ahead where we have some holes. You can always see that our Act 3 is very, very light. But trying to tell the story, we will figure out what scenes we still owe, what beats we owe, and we can follow like the classic 13 story beats. I also wouldn't be surprised if this ends up kind of parodying some sort of legal thriller, or it feels like shining a light on something, like an Aaron Brockovich, or a Spotlight, or like a fracking story or something like that. Uh, I wouldn't be surprised if a genre of TV show or feature film emerges with a storyline kind of like this. That actually might be some good homework, you know? It could be a fun extra layer that we add on top of the storytelling, like using the same device or structure or layout that a story similar to this might use. Uh, could this be told in a documentary style? The Simpsons is kind of boundless whenever it comes to breaking structure, parody, being satirical. The Simpsons have time traveled. They've shot in black and white. They've done different animation styles. They've literally done everything. Is there something here with this specific vehicle of storytelling where we can also push the envelope? Writers, something to brainstorm. But we're going to come back to this right now. The way that I look at this is like whenever a dealer has split the deck. Now we need to start shuffling the deck together to try and arrange a story that wins, that wins the game. And that's what we're going to do next time. So be sure to tune back in next Tuesday, where we will tackle this. It'll be fun. I had a lot of fun brainstorming with you guys. Also, I love The Simpsons. I love your minds. A vlogger influence, since let me make some notes real quick. I mean, I have a feeling like these notes always hit right at the end. Like whenever I say, okay, it's time to say goodbye, everybody's like, but what about? Vehicle in which to tell this story. We'll say one, legal thriller. Let's say Aaron Brockovich. Oh, I don't know how to spell it. I'm sorry, Aaron Brockovich. No T or with it? No T. Spotlight, etc. And we have what is this? Vlogger, influencer, style, YouTube channel esque, right? Might be fun if like Millhouse was doing some. Oh yeah, kind of like an expose style. Okay. Oh, we did do that, Mookie. Yeah. Okay, just wanted to throw that out there. If you're writing and you haven't saved, hit save, everybody. Hit save. Save your work if you haven't. Thank you so much for tuning in today, sharing your time with me. You know it means the world to me. I appreciate y'all being here. It's so fun to write, and it's even more fun to write with other people. So thank you for lending me your brainwaves. Thank you for lending me your ideas. Thank you for sharing your work, Carrie Ann Author. Thank you for all the suggestions, Saif, Mook. My goodness. Drowning Devil, Snacks and Games and Dogs, and thank you for the lurks, Jambit and Ducky Subway, and thank you for my little dancing dinosaur Meowfa. And thank you for lurking, Shade Master Jade. You know I appreciate you. Thank you for everybody on YouTube Vertical Lives, anybody who subscribed, liked, and subscribed. You know I appreciate you. Now, for everybody who's still on Twitch, let's find somebody in a reading writing category to raid. Might be a chance to make a new friend. I don't know. I know people have a tendency to peel off this late at night. Writing and reading. Let's see who's on. Let's see who is on. Oh, somebody brand new, and they're reading. I don't know if they're reading out loud. Forcing my brain to work. I like the idea that somebody's forcing their brain to work. This makes me happy. Okay. Okay, see, I think Holly Pocket Girl is just reading to herself, but I want somebody who's like doing the work. Yes. Okay, Siren Wire, brand new. Y'all, let's raid Siren Wire. Be sure to say hello, send love. Let's see, raid Siren Wire. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you. And yeah, it was fun. Let's do it again. And we are going to start this raid. I'll hang out. We'll say hello to Siren Wire. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow. And thank you again. Have a good night.